The momentum is slowing down. The noise that was deafening throughout the course of the summer is subsiding. The togetherness is being broken. A misguided sense of loyalty is rising to the surface again. There was a real belief over the course of the summer that change could be had. But that seems to not be the case. The financials have been revealed. More debt, more money on interest payments, more money on dividends than ever before, while the stadium is rusting, while the ladies' team get changed in car parks. The fans, after what could be perceived by many as a good summer of transfer activity, we've already been told, do not expect that again in future windows. This was a one-off. And we know why. Because the club is running out of money. Man United Football Club is not in a good situation behind the scenes. It has been run terribly for 17 years. And the past 9 to 10 have been absolutely calamitous. Man United fans, they're not really shouting Glazer out anymore. Man United fans are just, the summer's over, the football started. Let's get behind the boys. Let's get in the stadium. Let's buy the shirts. And of course, when the truth comes out, when the facts behind the scenes are revealed, it's just another embarrassing day for Manchester United. The Glazers are ruining this football club. They're taking it backwards, and no real long-term success is ever going to happen while they remain. The Football Terrace is sponsored by OneFootball. Make sure you scan the QR code on the screen during the stream, or click on the link in the description below to download this brilliant football app. You can select your favorite club and get all the latest news, transfer stories, starting lineups, and match content in relation to whichever team you support across Europe and the world. Also, for the 2022-23 season, all Serie A games are being streamed live on OneFootball, and you can get instant near live clips as well. So you can keep up to date with one of the biggest leagues in the world. And as mentioned, it's free. It doesn't cost you a penny. So what are you waiting for? Get the app downloaded now. Use the link in our description below or the QR code on the screen throughout the course of this video. Make sure like buttons are being smashed as ever. Let's do this. Now, everybody's entitled to support Manchester United in the way that they see fit. Everybody's entitled to go to games. Everybody's entitled to buy the merchandise. Everybody's entitled to a degree. You could be Glazer in if you want. There is no said rule to being a Man United fan, and I'm not somebody who pushes that notion. This is how you're meant to do things. But I do have my beliefs. And when you take a look at Manchester United, things are grim. Things are worse than anybody expected, but it isn't getting the media attention it deserves. Yeah, you had Sky Sports and you had BT Sports and people on TalkSport speaking about the Glazer situation throughout the summer when it was fashionable. But you know what? There's so much going on in the game now. Who's winning, who's losing, who could be sacked, star players, who's going to break records. Ownership of Manchester United is now, it's way in the background. This is also not helped by the fact that Man United fans day by day are losing interest in this matter, and they're just going to bury their heads in the sand until things go wrong again. Now, Manchester United have seen record-breaking revenue since Sir Alex Ferguson retired in 2013. £4.7 billion of income has been generated since that point, largely due to the increase of TV revenue that clubs have garnished. Now, of course, you see a dip in 2020, 2021. That was due to the situation with COVID and some of the international TV companies not paying money with everything that went on. There was a little dip there, but overall, it's remained pretty consistent. Man United have also seen operating profits of £224 million over that period, of which all have gone in interest payments. All 224 million has gone in interest payments over the course of that time. And as you can see, due to the TV revenue dropping during the COVID periods, and huge money at United have hemorrhaged elsewhere, Man United are now making big losses each and every single year. The debt has risen to £636 million. £636 million. That is absolutely colossal. Absolutely colossal. The debt at Manchester United is higher now than when the club was first purchased. And at the same time, higher and higher dividends has been taken out of the football club every single year. This year was a little bit higher due to last year's deferred dividends payments. But the club's making a loss. Every single penny that we are making in operating profits over the past decade has gone to interest payments. The debt is rising. And at the same time, the club owners are still taking huge dividends. Now, what you get from people is this notion of, well, it's their club. They own the business. Why should they not take the money out? They're some of the biggest spenders in Europe. Why would it matter? They spend more than other clubs. You should be backing the Glazers. Why would I be backing them? Why would I be behind the Glazers when they have spent 1.3 billion on signings? 1.3 billion on signings since Sir Alex Ferguson. They've had 3 rebuild projects that have all failed. Why would I support them? Man United's spending of money is wasted money. Up until this point, we don't know how it's going to go under Ten Hag, every single penny has been wasted. The fact that Myrtle is coming out and saying we can't continue to spend like this is for one reason and one reason only. And that is because the football club hemorrhaged 1.3 billion. 1.3 billion. The vast majority of which was spent upon players that did not move the needle, that did not make Manchester United better. The club is in turmoil behind the scenes. The only reason we signed players this summer is because the club took out more debt. They borrowed money to be able to spend. Why are they having to borrow money rather than using our own? Why are they having to do that? Because they have to spend millions and millions and millions of pounds a year on interest, because they're taking millions and millions of pounds a year out in dividends. These two things collectively are a huge hemorrhage. But on top of that, it has been the wasting of money, the failed projects, the wrong managers they've appointed. And every single time we fail, well, it's the manager's fault. It isn't. It's bad recruitment from these goddamn owners. And case in point is this. There was a £25 million loss over the last 12 months due to the sacking of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Ragnick. Man United brought Ragnick in to manage as an interim and then to go upstairs and help the club be run, to help build something that over a medium to long-term period would get the club back to the peak of its powers. But what ended up happening was this. The club ended up having to pay £14.7 million to Ragnick, because the manager they then went for didn't want to use him. Now, that isn't a dig at Ten Hag. Ten Hag's allowed to build his own team. Ten Hag is allowed to build things in his own image. But another mistake that cost the club £14.7 million. A quarter. A quarter of 100 million, £25 million wasted just on sacking managers last year alone. And remember, why was it more expensive to sack Ole? Because they gave him a new deal. A new deal. Are you kidding me? People are out here defending the Glazers. Everyone who buys a season ticket, everyone who buys a shirt, you're defending the Glazers. Rivals are always going to defend the Glazers each and every single day because they do not want to see these individuals leave. The mistakes of the past are going to impact the team of the future because we're running out of money. The debt is increasing. The share price is dropping. Interest payments are getting higher. The base rate has now risen in the UK. And there's a huge chance that Man United's loan interest payments are now going to increase. A huge chance. Because it's very likely they haven't put this on a fixed rate and they have a system where they're paying a few bips over base. That is highly likely to be the situation with their lending. That may change. So they may have to restructure the lending again and to get a fixed rate that could protect them against rising interest. They may actually have to borrow even more money, but where does that borrowed money go? Does it go towards sorting the stadium out? Old Trafford is rusting from the outside in. Rusting. You don't see this picture because it's from the side of a train track that runs on the back side of Old Trafford. You don't get shown this on match days. But continuously, the only thing they do to rejuvenate the stadium is paint over the rust. As I've mentioned, you've got the ladies' team that when they go to certain games, they have to get changed in the goddamn car park because they haven't given the right level of facilities. But yet the owners are walking off with £33 million. The banks are walking away with hundreds of millions of pounds. And when they do sell their shares, and they've risen over £500 million through the sale of shares, not one singular penny has been pumped back into the football club. If they got rid of the debt, alone, Manchester United would be better off by tens of millions a year. If they got rid of taking dividends for a period of time, tens of millions of pounds extra in the football club. Push that into the team. Create a long-term project. And why are long-term projects important, as opposed to just sacking and chopping managers all the time and having the same philosophy irrespective of the head coach? Because then you don't need to overhaul the squad every 2.5 years and waste another 200, 300 million pounds. However good Ten Hag is going to do, however great you think this recruitment is, if it doesn't work out with Ten Hag, and it won't medium to long term if the club doesn't continue to invest, if it doesn't continue to spend like our contemporaries, we don't have a club plan that lives beyond the managers. We're always going to have to hemorrhage money on new squads and then run out of money just as the project looks like it's about to take shape. It's happened every single time, one after the other. And if you look at Man City's model with the way they buy youngsters and develop players, the fact that, yes, they've spent money, but they create a squad that has continuity about it because there is a club system and process. Just go and do some research. I'm not going to tell you how much because you'll be shocked at how much income they've raised through the sale of players in the past 2 seasons. The figure in the last 2 seasons is almost above what Man United have raised in player sales in a goddamn decade. And if Man United were run better, if we weren't selling off players that were seen as dead wood because they were part of a team and a philosophy and an ideology and culture that maintained their qualities irrespective of the managers, you could sell people for money. You could raise tens of millions of pounds more a year, hundreds of millions of pounds more over a 2 to 3 year period to replenish the squad. But while this debt continues to ensue, while the owners steal money out of the coffers of the fans, until it's bankers running the football club for profit and not football people running the football club to make us the best team possible on the pitch, this club may perform a little bit better. It may even win some trophies in the short term. But do not cut your nose off to spite your face. Man United fans, stand up. Make yourselves be heard. Make yourselves be heard. And if you want to go to the games and pump your money in, that is your choice. But I'm going to say this, and I mean it. You are a Glazer. You are helping the Glazers. We need to crush and crash the share price. We need to cut the income. We need to damage the revenue to a point where they have to sell, where they're forced to sell. Because all they're going to do until that very, if we allow this to be a slow death, they're just going to keep bleeding us of money until they get to that point anyway, and then they sell it for billions and make more money. But let's get it there quickly. Let's crash it now. Let's come together. I don't understand why more Man United fans are not angry about this. Don't be suckered in by rivals online, pundits online, hosts online, on the mainstream media that are going to tell, oh, they're okay, they spend money. They waste money. They hemorrhage money. And they have taken this football club back to the goddamn dark ages. Stand up. Make yourselves be heard. Vote with your feet. Vote with your wallets. Protests are great. Hashtags are brilliant. But cut the snake's head off and take your money away. Get it done, people. Get it done now.